That changed his mind.
This one said, "Oh yeah, huh? It's okay. We the same person. It's like it's both of ours. It's like it's both of ours."
We're live now.
All right, we live. Wait till people jump on right now. We'll get a few viewers to jump on in a second. Right now, if you want, if you can, share the show real quick. If you got a phone, something to share with, let's share it while Lahab gets me my beer.
So like this, sir, it still says title pending.
PK.
Oh, yeah?
At ISUPK.com, and we're coming. Actions speak louder than words, and we show action with what we say.
Oh, man. Oh, there it is right there. Feedback right there. Feedback.
¿Qué clase de ayuda les piensan dar ustedes? Tenemos comida, tenemos ropa, tenemos toda clase de... ¿Desde dónde vienen ustedes? Nosotros venimos desde Texas, pero nosotros estamos en todos los estados, desde Nueva York, Canadá, Brasil, Puerto Rico. Los hombres hispanos, negros y indios nativos somos los verdaderos israelitas.
All right. Let's see how we're doing here. We got a problem with the connection on my end. But, man, this is the ISUPK La Raza. Every Monday coming to you live from northern Mexico, occupied territory. As always, you know what I'm saying. This is Officer Kazagyad. I got Officer 1000 Zara Y. We got Oscar War in the house. We got Malakma in the house. We got Lahab in the house. The Most High in Christ. Another Monday. We're coming here to you from the ISUPK headquarters, right? 125th Street, Harlem, New York City. You know what I said? Under commanding General Johanna Amataza in the house, also with us today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. You got a little trouble tuning in. Don't forget, we're also on the ISUPK La Neta, Facebook, and also YouTube. So you can always jump in with us on YouTube and the other channels, just in case you see us go out of this one. We're also backing it up on those channels. Don't forget to tune in, share the show. You know what I mean? Share it, like it, and definitely join in and comment with us. All the comments are welcome. We're going to try to do the best to answer any questions you may have, anything you want to know, man. That's what we're here for. We're here to clear up anything that you want to know about. Yaka'ala, Shalom Yahweh, Shemir Fekata, straight out of Odessa, Texas, tuning in. The water for joining in, Carnal. And, man, well, let's get straight to the point. Straight to the point. We want to thank everybody for joining us. And don't forget to share the show and get people in here, man. Let's do this. So let me see what I want to talk about today. We got something to talk about. I was still that whole thing about that, what's his name? That rapper with Tyga. Man, they still talking about that. They're still talking about how Tyga was disrespectful for using the word caramba. You know what I'm saying? Now, do you guys? I was telling Lahab today. Do you know that the word caramba is not even a Mexican word? Miguel Herrera, shalom, carnal. The word caramba, that's not even. We don't even use that word. Like Mexicans, we don't use the word caramba. That's like some like, I don't know, Portuguese. Some whack shit that other people use, but we don't use caramba. You only knew the words Mexicans really use, you know what I mean? And it's not caramba, that's for damn sure. You know,
that's like Colombia or
that's actually Portuguese and Spaniards. They use that word caramba. That's a word popular with the Spaniard and the Portuguese. That word caramba, and I'm gonna tell you where it comes from. I kind of know because, man, I'm gonna go into a word, right, that a lot of people find offensive. If you're from Sinaloa, right, or any part of Mexico, you've heard these words, and some people take these words offensively. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're using that word." But you know, we use the word "vete a la verga." That's a strong word, right? And the Spaniards use the word vete al carajo. That's their word too. But both of those words just so happen to be from Spaniard descent, because those two words are coming from parts of the ship during the time of slavery, when the shipmates would be sent to el carajo or sent to la verga. Now I'm gonna tell you what that is. The carajo is known as a crow's nest. You know what a crow's nest is? Anybody know what a crow's nest is?
Con, sir.
That's what a carajo is. So during the time of the voyage. Give me 1 second, cara. Cool. I wanna bring that up, right? During the voyage of the Spaniards, they would use that word. It was called vete al carajo. You know what I mean? It's called vete al carajo. So carajo is what means, is exactly what that word means. And let me go in here real quick. And what does this have to do with Tigger? Because Tigger don't even know what the hell he's talking about. Like he's out of knowing, anything about our culture or Mexican culture. He's just doing it because it just seems like, I guess, the thing to do, you know what I mean? Or the thing to say, or just because it's a popular gringo word.
Right.
I'm going to use that. It's a gringo word for them to say caramba.
Right.
That's not our Mexican words. We don't use that. We don't use that word. And let me find this real quick. I'm going to get this for you real quick because, trust me, I've worked with this before, and okay, let me see. Give me 1 second here, Racia. There we go. Let's see. Show me that. There it is. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a carajo right there. And our people didn't have carajos because what we used were chalupas, or known as little boats that we used to use to travel from the islands to the center of Mexico or wherever it was. They bring these boats came from Europe, and I'm going to show you a bigger boat right now.
Sir.
Go ahead.
So when you say the crow's nest, you're referring to this here.
To that. That's called the crow's nest. Americans know it as a crow's nest. There's a better picture, and that's el carajo. So when you did something wrong, right, on the boat, they would send you where? Vete al carajo. Go up to the crow's nest as punishment. You know what I mean? So that's what that's what a carajo is right there. A carajo is the crow's nest. And let me get another one right here. I'm educating you guys in language and shit today. Right?
Órale.
Salakia for the Spanish class today. But just to point out that, that fool of, what's his name? Tiger, he doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. Tiger. You know what I mean? Tiger doesn't even know what he's talking about. Tiger. But
Right.
Even us, when we hear words, and I think, let me get out of this image right here. And I think that would go into kind of like what we talk about when we're learning the Hebrew language. And when we're looking at words in the Bible and we don't realize what the words mean. Like, for instance, when you say the word holy and you tell somebody in Mexico, hey, que es un santo? And then he's gonna tell you, well, the santo is that statue that my mom has in the kitchen. That's a santo. And they tell you a santo is like una persona, a holy person that's turned into a saint. So they call a santo a saint. And here is where the confusion is at. Because they're using a Spaniard word, santo, to define what the word holy means in the Bible. The word holy in the Bible does not mean a saint or a person. It means to be separate. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
It means to be separate. So the word holy has nothing to do with a statue or someone who is a saint or something like that. Has nothing to do with that. But they're taking Spaniard words, Spaniard translations, and applying them in Spanish. And people in Mexico, generations, are saying, well, oh, ese es un santo. No, el oficial Zaraway, ay, es un santo. Mi compa es un santo. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Es un santo, mi compa. Or Amataza, no, es un santo. He helps people. Es un santo. But that's not what the word santo means. The word santo means holy, which means to be separate. And this is the problem with a Spanish translation. We're using the Spaniard language to translate a lot of our words, and we're not understanding the real meaning of those words when it comes to their origin or where they come from. And here comes that one right now. So when we say the word la verga, you're right away in your mind, oh man, he's using a bad word. But here is what verga is. Verga is the pole that goes across the anchor where the sails are at. Those are called vergas. And when they tell you vete a la verga, was the same thing as telling you vete al carajo. It means go up to that pole and keep watch, or make sure everything is clear, or as punishment, go up to the cove. The crow's nest was a point where you went up to keep watch, or to see where land was going to come, or to view. And that's what a verga is, and that's what a carajo is. So when someone tells you vete la verga, we're taking it like, oh, I'm going to go, okay. But it really means go up to the sail, bro, and make sure everything's okay. But we don't use the Spaniard translation. We use that translation that motherfuckers from Sinaloa and Michoacan and places come with, where we're using words like la verga, el carajo, And you understand what I'm saying, Malagma? Hey, I can't hear you, Salagya. Let me get you off mute.
Khan, sir. I understand what you're saying.
Amataza, you hear that? What you think about that, Amataza?
Khan, sir, you know what I'm saying? We say a la madre, we say all these, you know what I'm saying? And they say everybody takes it different, you know what I'm saying? Like we say, oye mi perro, you know what I'm saying? Or oye, wey, you know what I'm saying? ¿Qué onda, wey? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like some people may take it offensive, but you know what I'm saying? It's all in context, you know what I'm saying?
So, like, if I could, sir.
Khan, go ahead.
If I could, that just shows how we're Israelites. You know what I mean? Because we have that's just our terminology. We use slang words for everything. You know what I mean? So that's just another thing to show who we are.
Khan, and just to let you know, we use a lot of different words. And I've said this on a show I had before, where we use a lot of words similar to what the Black brothers use. Like, the Black brothers have this thing where they call their women shorties. I remember in the 80s, they used to have this thing about calling women shorties. Oh, that's my shorty. That's my shorty. It was a Black term that we used to hear. But, you didn't realize it. And if you use the word shorty, Mexicans were like, oh, you trying to speak like the Black brothers. You're using the word shorty. But little do they know that we use that same word in Spanish to address our women, chaparrita, which is the same word. We use the word chaparrita as a term of endearment to address our women. That's the word we use, chaparrita, mi prieta, mi negra, words we use to address our women. And it's common in Mexico to use these kind of words to address our women. You know what I mean? And so the word perro, what's up, my perro? And Black brothers use the word my dog, the dog pound, my doggy dog, you know what I mean? And we use the same words. Go ahead.
No, just real quick, I was going to ask you, what about the word Jaina?
Jaina. Damn, that's a good one because I don't think Black Brothers have a word for Haina. I don't know the translation to that one. What would Haina be?
I think a bitch, no?
Damn,
Because
that would be perra.
Because if you say perra in Spanish, it's very disrespectful.
Yeah,
You don't say that. But I think Haina, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Haina, I don't know what Haina does. Does Haina have a meaning?
Haina is a straight Cholo word.
That's a Chicano word.
That's a straight Chicano word. Haina is a straight Chicano word. You know what I mean?
I don't know then. So
What about Maruca?
Ruca.
That's
Yeah. Ruca is another word. Ruca. Ruca is another word that's used, but man, I wouldn't know. I don't know what that is. I wouldn't know what the translation or what would even be close to using those words. You know what I mean? But you know, Salaga, Amataza said the word way. You know what I mean? That we use the word way, and that word way is a really old word. You know what I mean? That word is actually, we think it means donkey, right? We use the word way as donkey, but that word comes even further back than the word donkey. Well, I guess ass, right? Hang on, let me go into a couple of words here. Isaiah, Natazayab, Shalom Yahweh, Shim Shabbat, Carnal, thanks for being on the show. Miguel Herrera says, en Jalisco, caramba es una forma más formal para no decir cabrón. Okay. Well, okay. But you see, Miguel, where the origin of the word caramba comes from. La palabra caramba, en verdad viene, ¿verdad? It comes from the Spaniard translation of carajo. Caramba and carajo is a word that's brought together, which basically means the same thing. That's what it means. Caramba is an expression used like saying, "Oh shit, ay caramba, oh shit," you know. But it's not our words. We don't use that word. The word cabrón is a baby goat. You know that? Un cabrón is a baby goat. Un cabrón es cuando un chivo está chiquito, les dicen un cabrón. La cabra, un cabrón. La cabra is a small one, but that's where it comes from. You know what I mean? But yeah, Khan, you're right. We use these words. The word way, right? That word that Amatazal used. That word way is really spelled B-U-E-Y. It's called buey, and it means like a ruler. That's what that word means. Buey means like a ruler of some type. It's actually a Nahuatl word. It's an ancient Nahuatl word, and it means a ruler. That's where that word originally comes from. So if you look up the word buey, it's going to come up as the B-U-E-Y, I believe it's spelled B-U-E-Y. And let me see if I can find it, right? B-U-E-Y. Let me see if I can find that word buey.
And Salakia, sir, and if I could, and that word is very insulting to some people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell them because it's like fighting words in a way, because it's like you're insulting them. You know what I'm saying? You're basically calling them a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Es bien way, or quítate de aquí, way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here, dumbass. Or, you know what I'm saying? You're such a dumbass.
And you know, el buey is like the big torote, the big bull, the big ass one, the one with the big horns, right? That's what that is. Okay, Salakia. So I found it, and it's not with the B. It's H-U-E-Y, huey. That's the word huey, platoni, huey, and the word huey is given to like to rulers. That's what that word huey means. Huey is a title. That's what it is. And I just found it. Let me tell you what the definition to that word way is. We're not going to go too much into this because, you know, okay, this is what it means. The word way is a Nahuatl word, which means great, grand, or big. So the great ruler, the big ruler, the grand ruler, that's what that word way means. H-U-E-Y. So the word way is like a word that you give someone who's a great ruler, like Commanding General Yahana would be the way Tlatoni to all of us. He'd be the big ruler, the big speaker to all of us. That's where that word comes from. It derives from a Nahuatl word, which means a great ruler or a great speaker, a big speaker or great speaker. That's where it comes from. And all this we're speaking about is because we're talking about this cat, what's his name? Fucking Tiger, who decided he was gonna take the video down, right? He decided, well, I'm gonna take the video down because a lot of Mexicans are complaining about this video I made where he's showing himself as a fat Mexican cholo, right? Eating potato chips and eating this and eating that. And I guess a lot of Raza was complaining about, hey, yeah, the word this and this. And he said, well, the word caramba, he didn't mean it to be offensive. But once again, like I said, this brother don't know nothing, right? That's why I'll tell you something. When I came into the UPK, I learned a lot about my Judite brothers and their culture. I learned a lot about the Benjamites, a lot about the Levites, things I had never known before. A lot of the history that I know now about the Black brothers in America came really from the ISUPK, stuff that you never heard of in school or anywhere else. Here you really found, their culture. And likewise, us Hispanic brothers, or Latino, Mexican, Chicano brothers, we're going to come out here and we're going to give a lot of story and a lot of history that a lot of people don't know about. And we're going to be able to connect, not only the way we've connected to their history, but they'll also be able to connect to our history. And it's important because we need to know each other's culture. We need to really know each other's culture because we do make a difference when we have certain things in our culture that make us, different and make us separate from everybody else in the world and show how we are all the same people. We know we live in the same barrios. We live in the same neighborhoods. We have the same traditions and customs almost. Our Black brothers love to barbecue. We love to barbecue. They like to hang out. We like to hang out. We drink. They drink. Music. Everything like this. Our car culture, our style, things like that. We connect. And the way we know this is because we begin to see each other's culture. And when we begin to learn about each other's culture, we start to get away from this stereotype that this cat, Tigger, is exposing, because that's a stereotype. Like, I never want to see a Hispanic brother, do some video where they show, the Black brothers the way they speak about them. You know what I mean? Because, hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, Mexicans real goddamn racist. You know what I mean? That's a fact. I grew up in LA. I grew up in this area. I grew up within Black and Hispanics, and I know my people. I know how racist they could be. And so for us, it's important that we begin to come together and we begin to show, how closely related we are when it comes to cultures. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. Anybody want to interrupt? Go right ahead.
So, like, sir, if I could, I just wanted to say, like, it comes to show, right, that we got a lot to learn about one another. You know what I mean? When it comes to all the tribes, and that's one thing that we can all take the opportunity to learn and get and know more about one another, because that's one thing that doesn't go down, and especially with the raza and with Black folk, there's a lot we don't know about each other, and everything we perceive about one another is what's been, portrayed to us with stereotypes. So hence why you get cats like Tiger making the videos he makes, and then why you get the raza that responds the way they respond, being racist as hell. So it's just it's ignorance, right? And that's something that we can correct as a people. We can be willing to talk. We can be willing to communicate and learn from one another. And you know what I mean? Like what the scriptures say, right? If you have an issue with your brother, you go to him and him alone. And if your brother, and if he hear thee, right, thou has gained thee, brother. So if a brother comes to you, right, like in the example we could use, right, is with Tiger, because the Mexican community let him be known that they were offended by it. They came to him and told him they didn't like it. And in response, ultimately he did hear it because he took the video down. So that's kind of like an example. We just, if we were to be, learn more, be willing to talk these issues out and hear one another, like we can resolve these issues without having to go to, to the streets and having to, go kill and murder one another. Right? What we teach here in ISUPK is the remedy to end black versus brown beef, black on black crime, brown on brown crime, right? The issue with the paisas and the gente over here hating on each other. You know what I mean? Like the carnalismo we teach is the solution and the answer, and we can see examples of it. As the Lord is putting the Spirit on brothers outside to demonstrate it. You know what I mean? But Salakia, I got the floor to the next brother.
Go ahead. Somebody jump in real quick.
I'll say this. Another thing we should do as a people. I was like, you hear me on that? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, come.
We should just hold each other accountable. So
Right.
our people, if one of us decides to make a racist remark against another tribe, so for example, if there was a Israelite or so-called Mexican who was being racial against a black man or Puerto Rican or Salvadorian, us as Mexicans need to hold him accountable. We all need to go to him like, hey, what you said was wrong. You need to stop saying that. Stop acting like that. Stop talking like that. Because you're offending one of our tribes. You're offending our family. And it should be like that with any tribe. Any tribe that's saying something against Issachar, Mexicans, they should be held accountable for the things that they say. Now, Tiger, he doesn't represent all black men. He doesn't represent the tribe of Judah. He's just one fool who just, like I said, he's just in the world, so he's gonna say worldly things. Honestly,
Right.
not a big deal. He took the video down, so we should, we should just move on from that. He took it down, and that was that.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. I agree with it going. I think what Malakma said was on point. That he spoke to the brother. They met, they talked about it, and they took it down, which is probably the most important thing of all, which is showing brotherhood to each other. People do shit out of ignorance. Hey, man, they in the world. They're gonna do shit out of ignorance.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're gonna do stupidities. And the thing is that it was handled in a manner that avoided any nonsense. The tensions are really high between black and Hispanics in different areas. We don't need to have anything else come in between to make us come against each other anymore. You know what I'm saying? I think right now we're living in a time when there's trying to be more unity between black and brown. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that they're being killed and we're being killed. We're being persecuted. They're being persecuted. And I say the word persecuted, but I really mean the cops are coming down both on black and Hispanics heavy. Our communities are being, once again, what is that? How can I say it? Haunted by police shootings, police brutality across the nation, both in black and Hispanics. The brothers that need to come in even sooner are the Native American Indian brothers, because they're also suffering from the same thing that black and Hispanics are suffering. La gente de los indios nativos también sufren de lo mismo, de estar siendo asesinados por el gobierno americano, igual que los morenos y también la raza mexicana. So we all got something in common. And sometimes, man, this that Tigger did, well, perhaps it was a good thing, because it helped kind of show, we can patch things up. We can move forward. And by him doing that, I think that was a good gesture that he did in his part. You know what I'm saying? It was important. Go ahead, anyone?
Come on, sir.
Go ahead, Zarwine.
Yeah, I was just gonna reiterate the point you was making. Is that us as Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, if one thing we can agree on is that we have the same enemy, the same oppressor, the same people that's killing every single tribe. That's something that we can unify on, and something that needs to be brought to the forefront. Salakia.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So So that's important, man. That's really important. I'm going to tell you something. Another story when they get into that kind of connects to this, and we can kind of like go right off of it, is that in Mexico, we got a lot of how could I say, we got a lot of white people moving into Mexican areas and gentrifying our country now. Now you got a lot of people from America, right? White people from America moving into Mexico, and the prices of houses are getting high. The businesses are now moving into their hands, and we're seeing a lot of gentrification going on in Mexico. So for us to fight here over this garbage that is it's not even our spot, and we're starting to see it happen in our country, in Mexico, and we can see how who's the real problem here, where the real problem is coming from. It's not coming from black brothers and sisters. Tell you the truth, when you talk to a black brother, they're like, oh, Mexicans moving in. No, brother, let me tell you, we moved in, but we were cool with you living right next to us. White people got a problem with you moving next to them, or you living in their communities, or them moving in and then being like, oh, there's too many black people here, and trying to raise the rent, raise the prices on houses, raise mortgages, raise the standard of living in areas where we can no longer afford it as Hispanics and blacks. We can no longer afford these places. It's getting to a point where they're moving us out just by increasing the standard of living within your own area. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing it happen in Mexico right now as we speak. Mexican people, La Raza out there, they're like, man, these white people moving in, and they're making it hard to live in our country. You know what I'm saying? Anybody got anything on that?
I'll say this. Touch on what you're saying, and it's where they're moving. Out of all of the places where they could have moved, they moved to the F.
Right.
F is Mexico City. So they moved. They're gentrifying the hood. And the F is where the pyramids are at. That's like the home for Mexicans. They didn't, they done gentrified Cancun and Baja California, right? Baja California, Rosarito. Those are tourist areas. So now they're moving on to Mexico City. And now you got like a Starbucks, you got cafes. No, then you're like Highland Park. You go to Highland Park, and Highland Park used to be the hood, used to be a Mexican community. Now you go to Highland Park, now there's a bunch of hippies in Highland Park. Like I said, the Starbucks, cafes. There's a bunch of white folks walking around what used to be ours. Highland Park, for those who don't know, is like a South Central LA or like a Watts. You know what I'm saying? But it was just predominantly Mexicans. So the white man, he's moving down to Mexico City and doing the same exact thing, which shows you that he just doesn't stop. He doesn't know when to stop. He's just gonna keep going, taking everything that belongs to us, taking our neighborhoods, taking our cities, and then putting his Starbucks and putting his cafes and putting his culture in what belongs to us. Right. Which is the very little that we had. We really don't have much, but he's willing to take the very little that we have. You can go into that scripture in Obadiah where it says that the thief, anybody can pull it. That in Obadiah it might be 1 or 12, where it says that if a thief went into a house, he would take some of the things that are in that house. Right. But Esau, he doesn't take some things. He takes everything in the house. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. He came to America. He went to Mexico, took our land, took everything, and then put us inside ghettos. Put us inside reservations. And now he's coming for that. Now he's coming for your reservation. Now he's coming for your ghetto. He's not leaving you with anything. Any brother got that scripture?
Con, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the
he's
grape
saying
gatherer,
that if a thief goes to your house, he gonna steal till he has enough. He's gonna steal a couple things. A thief gonna go into your house and just take what's most valuable and then get the hell up out of there. He's on the run, right? Keep going.
If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How
Right.
are the things like how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
That's it. The point is that the devil, the white man, our oppressor, he just keeps taking and taking and taking and taking, and that's what he's doing out there in Mexico City. I believe you have an article on that too. That's what he's doing out there in the EFA. He's just out there doing the same exact thing that he's done for the past 500 years, which is keep taking our land, keep taking our our resources, taking things that belong to us. Before you know it, you're gonna see a big red, white, and blue flag in the EFA.
Right?
You know
Damn.
what I'm saying? They going I'm telling you, they're gonna take everything. Like what more does our oppressor have to do for you to learn that he is not our friend? You know what I'm saying? That this is our enemy and it's in plain sight.
Right.
But I want to pass it to the next brother if I could.
And I
So,
do have that article. So go ahead and speak, and I'll bring it up. It's called Mexico City
Salaki.
Residents, and it says angered by influx of Americans speaking English, gentrifying their area. And this was a week ago, July 28th, just to show you how soon it is. But go ahead, I'll jump on it.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Now, I just got one question. Ask yourself why this white man they're going to Mexico, but they're not going to anywhere else. Nowhere. They're not going to China. They're not going to the Middle East. They're not going to to what is it, India or Africa, but they will go to Mexico, right? And I'm talking about it in the terms of gentrification, right? Estos gringos no van para China, no van para, ¿verdad? Para allí, para el Medio Oeste. No, van allí para México. Y eso ahí es para enseñarte algo, Raza, right? That this is to show you something, Raza. This oppressor purposely goes after you. He doesn't and respects these other nations, man, because he goes to Mexico. At the fact that you got they're going to Mexico and doing this, man. Like it's like what more you need, man. Like ¿qué más necesitan? Ahora van para México. Te quitaron tu tierra aquí, ahora te la quieren quitar de ahí. Tu propia tierra, este opresor te lo quiere quitar, ¿verdad? Y como dijo, ¿verdad? Lado One en el libro de Obadiah, en el primer capítulo, verso 5, ¿verdad? Que Esaú quiere quitar todo, se quiere llevar todo, right? Esau wants to take everything. And that's how America is. That's how this oppressor is, man. They just want to take everything and consume. They're the locusts of the earth, man. They're a plague on this earth, man. The Salaki. I'll pass it to the next brother.
Okay, and I got that article, and the article reads like this, right? This is from the New York Post, and it talks about Mexico City residents angered by the influx of Americans speaking English and gentrifying their area. And this is in Mexico City. This is smash in the city of, the biggest city in Mexico. And it says an influx of Americans has made its way to Mexico City. And it talks about Californians too. It says angering locals who say they are being gentrified in their own area. So they got a growing number of Americans, it says many from California, moving and visiting the country, which has contributed to a rise in rent and a shift from Spanish to English in different places. It says, new to the city, working remotely, flyers popping up around the city. They reportedly say, you're a fucking plague and the locals fucking hate you. Leave. You know what? In Hawaii, they got this saying that says, welcome to Hawaii, now go home. Because the people from Hawaii don't want white people and don't want the Chinese there either. It says the articles outline how Americans have brought a scent of a new wave of imperialism as taquerias and corner stores have slowly transformed into coffee shops and Pilates studios. English is also reportedly becoming the most prevalent as more Americans are moving and visiting Mexico City to take advantage of lower rent and the ability to stay in Mexico for 6 months without a visa. So imagine that.
Yeah,
Mexico allows white people and other people to go there and be there without even a goddamn visa. man, you cannot be from El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, or Central America, or any place in Mexico or Latin America in America for a week before you get arrested and put in for deportation for not having a goddamn visa. And America is supposed to be, what is it? A humane place with where they check for human rights and make sure human rights are not being violated. I'll tell you what, Mexico is more of a human rights place than any other place. Go ahead.
That president of Mexico, like, if he was really for the Mexican people, and if we really loved this country, he'd do the same thing that Donald Trump did to America, to Mexicans in America. He'd be like, they're not bringing their best.
Right.
They're bringing criminals. They're bringing rapists. They're bringing drug dealers. I assume some of them are good.
Right.
Right. You should do the same exact thing and send all their white folks right back over there.
Absolutely.
Send them all back to America, and then put some of them in cages. And you know what would the outcry be if the president of Mexico started putting white people inside cells and cages?
Right.
Good night, man. It'd be an all full-out war in Mexico. You know what I mean? It'd be a big thing. You know, you wouldn't even see the war in Ukraine no more. You would see everything would be focused on Mexico because Mexico decided to put an American inside a cage. That's what he should do. You know, if you had some love for his country, he'd be like, yeah, you know, you guys did it to us, so here you go. I'm gonna do the same exact thing to you. Right. I'm gonna pass it up.
So, like, sir, if I could, just real quick, to them white people moving out there, why don't you do it the league? Why don't you get in line like everybody else? Right. No. You know what? Better yet, stay in America. Stay in America. Mexico has its own problems it's got to take care of. They can't support you. Right? Why don't you stay in America like the brave people you are and fix your problems at home? Why you got to come and mess up my country?
Right. No, that's right. Fact. That's heavy.
No, absolutely. That's the way we should see it. Go ahead. Amatazar, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, sir, like, you know what I'm saying, what every brother is bringing out is heavy because, I mean, Mexicans get so much hatred in a state that is theirs, you know what I'm saying, that a land that belongs to them, and then they come over here and then they go over to Mexico, and it's like, you know what I'm saying, they could come out, you know what I'm saying, walk in the street, no fear. I don't know if anybody remembers SB 1070. SB 1070 was targeting all Mexicans. I mean, Mexico got to pass a bill that's targeting all white people, you know what I'm saying? Todos los gringos, todos los gabachos que están allá, que lo saquen de ahí, pues, porque si no, lo que va a pasar es que ellos van a abrir sus negocios y ahora va a dejar la gente del estado en pobreza, pues. You know what I'm saying? That's all they're trying to do. You can't, like, tenemos que ver eso como una plaga, pues. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to look at it like this is a disease, like it's a cancer that needs to be removed, because that's what they are, man. Like, once you see them, just be careful, man. I mean, we've seen it in history, we see it in the schools, and we see it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And even in the supermarkets. You know what I'm saying? We can't trust these people, right? It's like
to Officer Matazar.
Go ahead, Malaka.
Now, to say real quick to Officer Matazar, what's that saying about roaches? Once you see one, you know there's many more around.
Right.
Yep.
If I could,
go ahead, it's like.
Can everybody hear me?
Come.
Brother, I just want to bring out a comment that the brother said, and then I want to touch on it. Brother Shapat Fayak said, but they let them stinking Afghan and Ukrainians with no weight for a visa. And that's true. You understand? They brought the Afghans over here when they had the revolution and the government was taking over. They brought them over here with no problem. They didn't run them through no immigration camps. The Ukrainians, the same thing. They brought them over here with no process of them going through ICE camp. And ICE is supposed, like, people don't even know this. ICE is for all immigrants. It's not only for Mexicans and Latinos. But people think it's only for Latinos because we're the only ones in there.
Right.
You understand? The majority of people in there is Latinos, but it's really for all immigrants. But we're the only ones in there because we're really the ones who are being targeted. You understand? Because they don't want us to come back to our own land and so forth. But what the brother saying is very true. And I want to bring out a precept. It's Deuteronomy 28 and 40.
Already
43. You sure, sir?
Okay.
No, 28 and 43, so we could. Deuteronomy 28 and 43.
Gosh, like 28, 43.
Come, sir.
Deuteronomy 28 and 43. A stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
And that's what's happening right now. The stranger that is within us, the so-called oppressor, the Caucasian, he is getting. Read that part, sir, if you could.
That is within thee shall get above thee very high.
He is within us, meaning he is among us. He's living among us, and he's getting very high over us. And that is a fact. This is a prophecy from the Most High God. And who does this prophecy apply to? It doesn't apply to Afghans, the Chinese people. It only applies to Black people and Hispanic people. You understand? To Hispanic people, to us, because we just read the article where it says that in Mexico, English is becoming the #1 language. That taco stands are turning into yoga stands and whatever the hell else. Pilates, that's not Mexican, that's white culture. You understand? So-called white culture. And that's what's happening. They are getting above us. If you could. So
Right.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And we shall come down very low. In our own land, we're leaving our own land. Because we can't survive in our own land. We're low. We are oppressed in our own land, so we come to America. Yahweh said something very heavy at camp this Saturday. He said, real Mexicans don't want to go to Mexico. But white people want to go to Mexico because they live good. Mexicans are trying to escape oppression in Mexico. How in the hell does the native people of their own land live at the bottom, but other people can live on top? That's how you know you're oppressed. You understand? And here's another thing. This is what we're reading in Deuteronomy 28 and 43 is a curse from the Most High God. So we can't fight against the Caucasian man to make him leave. It's not in our power to kick him out. Why are these things happening to us? You understand? Because we're not serving the Most High God. We're not serving our God. We're not keeping the laws and the commandments that He told us to keep to be able to be above other nations. Instead, we are what? We are lost in these other nations' religion, in the way of life, in the American lifestyle. You understand? We want to continue in that lifestyle because we think that lifestyle is going to bring us freedom. It's going to bring us relief from the oppression that we're in. But really, that's what's keeping us locked in oppression under them. You understand? And that's exactly why our people need to come back to the Bible, to the truth of the Bible, who is being taught in the IHPK. Because if you're not learning the Bible, you're never going to get out of oppression. You could sound smart, you can have money, you can have nice clothes, you can be intelligent, you understand? But God don't care about that, man. I'm not saying that those things aren't effective, that they are effective. But if you don't have the knowledge of the Bible, then it ain't going. You're not going to make a change. You understand? The Lord said He's going to get the unwise to confound the wise of this world, and that's what's happening in the IHPK. God is taking the drug dealers, ex-convicts, ex-murderers, damn sisters who were prostitutes, and He's taking them and making them righteous, so that we can wake up our brothers and sisters, man. Right? And that's it. It's like.
All right, John, absolutely. And what you're seeing in Mexico is that these people are going over there and they're taking, you know what it is? What was that? A land grab all over again. That's what it really is. They're out there to take land because they got the money to do it. And since they got the money to do it, they're over there, once again, what is it? Another conquest all over again.
Right.
That's what it really is. It's another conquest all over again. And I read this article where this one guy said that I think I have it here. Let me see if I bring it. If I got it, let me see. Oh, this is look. I read like this. It says this is in response to the article. Mexico City is being flooded by Americans, including legions of remote workers drawn by cheaper rents. They're transforming classic neighborhoods, the housing market, and even racial dynamics. More and more locals are asking them to please go home. Hey, at least they're asking them to please go home.
Right.
They're not rounding them up or
Right.
going to their workplaces or making detention centers,
Starting to cross
right?
the yard.
Yeah, or exactly. And this is the response to one guy. He said, sounds like a racist conspiracy theory. He says, gringos are hacking hard workers. That's a laugh right there. They're the laziest people on earth.
Wow.
They don't know nothing about work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know a goddamn thing about work. Let me show you what work is.
Good night.
But they don't
Right.
consider this right here, they don't consider it work.
What they do, sir, if I could, they sit on the corner of the freeway talking about homeless. Please help. You know what I'm saying, sir?
And take off in a Benz or a Beamer.
Right. God.
Our people don't even do that. They either alcoholics or they working hard.
This right there is work.
You're not gonna see them begging.
Right.
Period.
This that you're seeing here, that's work. That's work in Mexico. That's common in Mexico, all over. Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, Jalisco, common. To see people going, what is he selling? Buñuelos, right?
Kind of
They
looks
make
like
them at the house,
really.
yeah, they look excellent, bro. Like I'm ready to buy one right
Man.
now. But these brothers work all day. They go out there and they work all day for this. And how do you know? Because you see them here in Cali doing the same thing. They're up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with their taco stands. They're up all day pushing their corn, that little corn wagon.
Right. Making
You know,
money.
Right.
they're making money. They're not asking or begging for money.
Sending their daughters to college.
Exactly. They're working for their money. You know, and these so-called, what that guy said, right? He called them gringos. That man, the laziest fucking people on earth.
Right.
The only thing they're smart at is finding out how they're not gonna work. They'll
Right.
find some way of being able not to work.
Crafty snakes.
Right.
Snakes, man.
You know what I mean? And that's what they do. They'll find a way not to work. And what we're seeing here is that Mexico is being gentrified by these same people. And now we see our country, you know what? Our country being destroyed by the same thing that happened here. Eventually, it's going to be expensive to live in Mexico in certain areas because they're going to move in there and they're going to do the same thing they do out here. They move into a neighborhood, they raise the price of. They're a virus. They're a virus that makes it hard to live. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, I got a precept for you. And the brother actually brought it up. Shapat Hayak. He said, they are what Genesis 14:12 says, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. Meaning, the Lord cursed the snake. You know, if I could, sir, the Lord cursed the snake in Genesis for deceiving Eve. But the same spirit that man had, that snake, the man with the spirit of a snake, of a deceiver. Like we said today, you a snake, he's a liar. That same spirit that he has, that's the same demon, the spirit that Esau had. You understand? And the Lord said, no matter where you go, you're not going to henceforth fruit. Meaning you're not going to be able to just live naturally. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth, and that's Esau. He's a vagabond. He's going here from there, all over the earth. He doesn't have nowhere to live. Why? Because he doesn't have nowhere to live.
Right.
He's in Mexico taking people's property. He's in America gentrifying every neighborhood. He's over here stealing their culture. Doesn't have self-identity because his real identity is a vagabond,
Right.
a murderer, which is what you're saying. So he's out there in Mexico. They're out there in Mexico stealing people's land and taking their, just taking over the land where they don't deserve to be. It should be a shame to do that because their ancestors enslaved Mexicans. They stole California. When their own people don't even let Mexicans be in America without a reason. And I guarantee you, those same people in America, in Mexico, who are American, they voted for Trump. They're against Mexicans coming to America. You understand?
Con, you're
So like,
absolutely right. No.
So
You're
like, sir, if
absolutely
I
right.
could,
That's what we go ahead.
now I was gonna say real quick, another culprit that needs to be called out and addressed, right, is that Catholic Church, because of the Catholic Church and the Christian Church, that Christianity, right? Because this is how Mexico receives these gringos, right, that come up in here and literally stealing our country from us, right? Our homeland from us. But meanwhile, how was Mexico treating, the Hondureños, the Guatemaltecos, right? The people from Central America coming into Mexico, going to America. America made Mexico, go after them and lock them up and deport them back to El Salvador. Didn't let them come in. But you're going to let these gringos come in. You're going to let the Afghans come in. You're going to let the Ukrainians come in. And that's because of white Jesus. That's because of the Catholic Church, man. We see these people as, like as godlike and holy, and we treat them better and we'll hate on our own. You know what I mean? So that's just something I wanted to point out. Salaki.
Salaki, sir, you're muted.
Zarwai, can you hear me?
Yeah, come on.
Go ahead, Carnal. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the comment that you had made. How they try and find find a way not to work. I think they hit the gold mine by setting themselves over there, in central Mexico. Like there's no like once they set up shop over there, they got plenty of Iscarite people that are willing to work for them for the low cost and the high labor. You know what I mean? So they know exactly what they're doing. I saw firsthand when I lived in Hawaii how the gentrification had the people so impoverished out there. You know what I mean? Like they have I think it was like either number one or number two in the highest rate of tents, tent cities out there, where the people had to live, the natives there had to live in tents outside because of the gentrification of the oppressor. And this is exactly what's happening, with our people right now. And if our people knew, like the Bible says, remember the days of old, like America wants to remember the Alamo. Our people need to remember the Alamo as well. Remember what happened when these people came and the brother was bringing out how they stole California, how they stole Texas. Remember the Alamo. Our people need to remember that as well, and see and realize what these people are trying to do there. These people are trying to steal the land so that they can have have our people working for low wages. You understand? And while they're doing that, at the same time, putting them in poverty while they come up. If I could bring out a quick precept. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 12.
I have a brother read for you, Carnal.
Come
Come. Yeah, if you could start at 10 and then jump to 12.
So like Ecclesiasticus
12 and 10. Let's start at 10 and then we could jump down to 12.
Con, sir. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy. For like
that's what our people need to do. Our people need to realize that they should never trust that enemy, man. The same enemy that hold our people in cages for doing the same thing that they're doing. They don't realize that our people are in cages right now for doing the exact same thing that the oppressor's doing, in our country. You understand? We should learn to never trust our enemy. The problem is that a lot of Uncle Toms and Stockholm syndrome, wanting to be the perfect Catholic and loving everybody. You understand? Why you don't even care about your own people that are locked in cages right now. If you knew anything about about the Bible, if our people knew anything about the Bible, they would seek justice for what they have done to our people. Go ahead.
Con. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
His wickedness, like he's not there, and they're not going to central Mexico to be friends. They're going there because they are wicked. You understand? They have wickedness in their heart. Their words are smoother than butter, but war is always in their heart, man. They're going down there to establish themselves, to be put over. Like I forgot who was bringing it out. Like, how can we, it be our country and we're the ones on bottom still. You understand? And they're on top. But let's jump down to verse 12. Baba Kasha.
Con. Verse 12. Set him not by thee.
And who's
Lest
the him? The him is the wicked one on the earth. The one who the earth was given into the hands of, the wicked. Don't set him by thee. You understand? Go ahead.
lest when he hath overthrown thee, he
That's what they're trying
stand
to do
up.
over there in Mexico City. Over there in Mexico City, they're trying to overthrow, just like they did in Texas, just like they did in California, and just like they did to our Gadite brothers here in all Northern America. They're
Right.
trying to sit by them just so they could overthrow them. Go ahead.
He stand up in thy place.
That's what they want to do. They want to stand up in our place, like he was bringing out. That's our country, but yet we're the ones on bottom, and they're the ones that are able to live on top. You understand? Go ahead.
Lest he seek to thy seat, and thou
That's what they
art
want to do. They want to take our seat. You understand? That's like they're the vagabonds and the thieves of all the earth. They take the whole earth in their possession by theft, rape, and murder. Like, that's their culture. Their culture is theft, rape, and murder of the whole earth. That's the only thing that they've ever contributed to the earth is theft, rape, and murder. There's no other thing that the so-called oppressor has ever contributed to the earth. Salakia? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Continue.
gone. And thou at the least remember my words,
Go ahead.
and be pricked therewith.
And
Like,
that's
and there,
something that the
gone.
Lord is trying to show us right there. The Lord is trying to show us, like, we better remember what he's trying to say to us. We better remember that we shouldn't trust our enemy. Because if we don't remember that, the Lord's words are going to prick us therewith. We're going to be, hurt. That's what, the whole prick with therewith is talking about, is us being hurt. Because then we're going to remember, man, we should have listened to the Lord. We should have listened and never trust our enemy. Salakia, sir.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect, man. You're absolutely right about that. And just to show where you're coming from, man, people in Mexico are already on that. They already know. Look at this sign here. Oh, take off that banner. Let's get rid of that banner real quick. I want to show you this. Let's get rid of Ayar's banner real quick for that comment. Let's start that comment. Can you take that comment down? Oh, you don't have it up? Okay, let me get that comment real quick. Let me get that comment down. Okay, got it. And as you can see, it says right here, look, Mexico City, right, to expats, mi casa no es su casa. Talking about Mexican residents are talking about, man, this is not your house, white man. Straight up. He's talking about, they already know, like in Mexico, we already know, man. We already know, just like the Bible was saying, man, we already know who the enemy is. It says Americans are gentrifying some of the capital's most treasured neighborhoods, and the backlash is growing. That just goes to show you, man, that you know what? Maybe, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but maybe the cartels will see this too. And maybe the next people that are going to start getting picked up and put into acid tanks are going to be white people. Maybe that's going to start happening to them real soon. Look at this. This came from a writing on Mexico too. You're a fucking plague. Mexico City's residents are getting fed up with American expats, means people that are coming, right? Look at the walls in Mexico. The graffiti. Look at that. It's straight up saying, abulgarzar, gentrificar. That means you're gentrifying our areas. Intervening, you're intervening. It says, and to abandon, to get out of here, man. You know, they Mexican people, man, out in Mexico know better than us here in America. Here in America, we want to be Mexican American. And then we want to go to Mexico. Let me tell you something. I'm going to say this, man. There's going to come a time where being American is not going to be the thing in any other country. You can be American in America, but you're not going to want to be American anywhere else.
Right.
You ain't going to want to be American in Europe. You ain't going to want to be American in South America. You ain't going to want to be American in Canada. You don't want to be American in Mexico or Baja California. There's going to come a time where America is going to be like Nazi Germany. And you're not going to be able to be a Nazi anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be looked at like the villain, the monster. That's what America's going to be. America is going to be a nation that no one's going to want in their backyard. That like they talk about, America talks about, oh, Venezuela's in our backyard. Mexico is our neighbor. We ain't trying to be their neighbors. And for us, Raza, that live in America, let me tell you, you better get used to the idea of getting rid of that word American. You better start getting used to not being called Mexican American or using Black American or Native American Indian, because that word is going to become a venom, a destructive word. It's going to be, America is the same as saying Nazi. That's going to be the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Malagman.
So like, sir, I was going to add, can you imagine? I just think about it out of one, and I think about it. Imagine how empowering it is to be able to tell a gringo, get out of my country. You know what I mean? To tell a gringo, go back to your country, go back to where you're from. You know what I mean? To tell him you're not welcome here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they said to us this whole time. Imagine being able to put a sign up and put no gringos allowed. You know what I mean? To tell them, you know.
My sign is going to say, no dogs, no gringos, and no homos. That's what my sign is going to read, bro. That's going to be my sign on my door. And the dog and the gringo is going to be like right next to each other right there. They're going to be like side by side. You know what I'm saying? And really, it's going to be like, not even homos, but I'm really no bitches. That's what it's going to be. And pointing at the females, gringas, way. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's good to see. It's good to see that Mexican brothers, man, out in Mexico, you know, they're starting to see the reality of who the enemy really is. Go ahead.
So, like, if I could, let's not forget that Mexico kicked out Chinese people back in the early 1900s.
All right.
For the sake for taking over the stores and making shops, and they were like they got fed up and they just like, you know what, y'all gotta get out of here.
Right. And let me tell you firsthand, my mom lived in Zacatecas, no, Salakia. My mom lived in Mexicali when the time of the expulsion of the Chinese. My grandma, right? She was like my mom lived at the end of that era, but my grandma lived when it was happening. And my grandma used to say that the Chinese were real rude to Hispanic people, that they considered them above Mexican people. Like the Chinese looked at Mexicans as if they were dirty, like if they were dogs. And it was their country, man. They were in Mexico, and they still looked at them like that. Right. And they used to. My mom told me that his Mexican people couldn't even walk in front of their houses because they'd go out right away and they like exactly what we see with the black brothers who go into white neighborhoods. You've seen a lot of videos like that where you see a black brother go into a white neighborhood and the whole goddamn neighborhood comes out to tell him, man, you don't belong in this neighborhood.
Right.
Get out of our neighborhood. Go wherever you're coming from. Like real racist shit. And that's the same way the Asians were with Hispanic people in Mexico. Like really, it got so bad. Listen how bad it got. It got so bad that the Mexican president at that time was fed up with the Chinese doing that to Mexicans, because obviously it was like, it started getting like way out of hand where it was happening everywhere. So what he did, he was like, fuck it, no more Chinese. He took all their properties, took all their businesses, and expelled them from Mexico.
Damn.
There was a big migration of Mexican people, of Asian or Chinese people to America because they were thrown out of Mexico. Literally thrown out of Mexico, and by violence, because a lot of people were like, we don't want the Chinese here no more. Get them out of our neighborhoods. Mexicali, Tijuana, Baja California, the fronteras, the border towns were the ones that were filled with more Chinese than other places. And they put them all out because they were fed up with their Chinese garbage, and they threw them all out. That was in the time of the expulsion of the Chinese in Mexico. Big history, but no one ever talks about it. Why?
Right.
Because of how racist it sounds. But ain't no one ever talk about how racist they were against Mexicans.
Right.
No one ever talks about how racist they were against children, against women and kids. No one ever says how that was. It's not till you talk to somebody who was around in that time that they tell you the attitude they had towards people. Go ahead.
Right.
Like, also, if you go today, like I've been to Mexicali today, recently, and you still see like Asians. Like every mall has a Chinese food spot.
Yeah.
And only people working there are Chinese. Like it's all them. They only supply jobs for their own people. It's like it's a family. It's a family-owned business.
Right.
Just how they have family-owned businesses out here. Doctor's office.
Right.
That are Chinese and all that. The same thing is going on over there.
Right.
We're lucky that we even allowed them to do that.
Right. And you don't even know that the Chinese didn't allow their children to marry with Mexicans.
Right.
That was not allowed. Chinese had to marry into Chinese families. Right. So there's I've talked about this before. There's a famous store called Tiendas La Ley in Mexico, in the city of Mexico. Tiendas La Ley is the oldest supermarket. I think there was two major supermarkets, La Canosupo and Tiendas La Ley.
So like that one's all over now.
Oh yeah, La Ley is all over. It's one of the most famous stores. One of the most famous stores in Mexico, all over Mexico, Tiendas La Ley. And why? Because they were Chinese who got to Mexico and they were showed a lot of love by the government, and they were giving funded and all this shit. And you know what? They overthrew. And they got these fucking stores all over the place.
So you're saying they're owned by Asians?
Oh yeah, Tienda La Ley is Asians. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Tienda La Ley is a straight Asian stores, and they're famous all across Mexico, man. Baja California, Mexico, everywhere. When you go and you see Tienda La Ley, they're Asian or Asian owned. Yeah, well, Ley.
About good, sir.
I thought it was like, the law.
No, hell no. Ley, L-E-Y, Ley, Tiendas Ley. And I know because my pops used to sell cassettes to that store.
Oh, okay.
And the owners were fucking Asians who spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
So that's how I know, because we're talking about the early 80s, the early 70s, when my dad used to deal with Tiendas La Ley.
It's like that's the generational weight.
Oh yeah, that's generational wealth. Absolutely, that's generational wealth. That's that's handed down. Go ahead.
That's funny that you bring that up, because over here in Philly and in Jersey, it's like that. The Chinese own the Mexican restaurants out here. They're out here speaking Spanish. Yeah, they hire, Israelite brothers and sisters, but they're the ones who own the businesses.
It's a lot here.
It's crazy that you said that because that's how it is out here in Philly and in Jersey.
Gone. Wow. Go ahead.
If I could, you know, Pollo Único,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That's like a very, like, it's a little spot right here down the street in Pasadena, but man, it's always packed. There's,
Right.
you know, full time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always, it's gonna be super packed. And I remember seeing that they only had a now hiring, but only in Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't say now, it's like they didn't say now hiring, but they said estamos buscando gente.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why they don't have that in English? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't have it now hiring sign. They have it in Spanish because they only hire Hispanics.
Mm.
So
They know that, you know, we hard working.
So like, sir, if I could, I don't want to. No, I was gonna say I wanted to bring out a precept if that's the Wab. I was gonna bring out the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3, right, where it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So you know, like what you're seeing, right, is like a precursor to the Raza waking up and revealing that man of sin. That's why they got them signs up about the gringos, right? The gringos saying "Mi casa no es su casa," right? Telling the gringos to leave and get out, right? They're not accepted because they know they're no good. One of the signs, right? What they call them, a fucking plague. That's what they call them. So you know that's in the spirit to say that. You know what I mean? That's biblical because that's exactly what they are, a plague. And they're the man of sin. They're the man of perdition. It's a lie.
Right.
I could too. You know, like, you know what comes with Americans coming to Mexico? Mexico City is gonna be like a downtown LA. What, like, anybody that's been to downtown LA, what is it? Skyscrapers, restaurants, businesses, you know, clubs, bars, all of that. And then outside of those bars and businesses and skyscrapers are a bunch of poor people who are asking for food. Right. I mean, that's what's coming to Mexico City. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it's gonna be a nice spot. It's gonna be a nice spot to go to if you're rich and you got money. You know what I'm saying? But everybody, anybody who's poor and who doesn't have money, it's gonna be hell. It's gonna be a skid row.
Hey,
Right. You know what
Salaki,
I'm saying?
sir,
If they're poor in Mexico right now, they're gonna be even more poor once more Americans start going over there. You know what I'm saying? The price is gonna go high. That's what it said in the article, right? Rent's going high, everything's going up. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make the people that live there are gonna get even more poor.
Right.
While other Americans get there and get to live a nice, good life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen, if you were so-called Mexican, you was rushing to come over here. You ain't gotta do that no more. You got Americans going over there. They bringing America to your door. You about to find out that's not what you were looking for. You know, that dream that you wanted is not a dream come true. It's gonna be a nightmare. And the people in Mexico City are about to find that out.
Hey, Salaki, sir, if I could.
Go ahead, Marazal.
Hey, you know what's funny is that I was just at my slavery and we were talking about this not too long ago. We were talking about how there was a brother that, you know what I'm saying, his mother basically crossed the river and, you know what I'm saying, long story short, they were talking about how a poor man in the US can live rich in Mexico. But as you know what I'm saying, as more we dig into these stories or into this story, it's like Mexico is turning into a place where not even a poor man's gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying, live there. You know what I'm saying? Because Mexico, I mean, it's not, you know what I'm saying, you could be poor in Arizona, in the US, go to Mexico and live good, you know what I'm saying? But as more as white people started moving in there, it's like everything's gonna go up. All the prices are gonna go up. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be opening up business, and everything, all their business is gonna be booming. You know what I'm saying? But where's our tienditas gonna be at? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to move out of the streets, not only the corners. You know what I'm saying, but and sleep under the freeways. You know what I'm saying? Underneath the freeways, underneath. You know what I'm saying? Build up tents because of the cost that's, you know what I'm saying, that's being gentrified in our country. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a lot.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
If I could just say one last thing too, it's like here's another thing that not too long ago Puerto Rico had the same exact problem. I don't know if y'all remember that. Not too long ago, there was an article on Puerto Ricans saying, like, man, you guys are coming over here and you guys are taking everything, taking our land, taking our beaches. Logan Paul, that devil, went over there and bought a whole beach.
Right.
And Puerto Ricans are not allowed on that beach. And that just goes to show you that, you know, if there's one thing, if there's one of many things that Mexicans and Puerto Ricans have in common is that we have the same oppressor.
Right.
That we beef over stupid things. We beef over boxing. You know what I mean? We beef over boxing.
God.
You know, who's better than the other. Not realizing that we got some devil going into our land, going into our, you know, what belongs to us and taking everything that belongs to us and then pushing us on the outskirts of our own land. And now we got to go begging for them. You know, we can't go to the places that we grew up to. I'm pretty sure those beaches that Puerto Ricans are banned on, you know, those were beaches that they grew up on. You know, that was like childhood memories. You know, as kids they were there. And now the white man done went to that beach and took it over. They're not allowed over there. In the Efe, there's many places in the Efe that a lot of our people grew up on. That's our land. And now there's going to be certain places in the Efe that our people won't be able to go to no more because the white man took it over. And he's going to ban Mexicans from going to these certain places or locations. And now you're going to see a skyscraper. You're going to see all these buildings there. And we're just going to look at it like, you know, what happened? You know, like, how the hell did it get to this point?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be a terrible thing if you're not in the truth. That's why if you're in Mexico City, you better come into this truth because what you're going to understand is that this is only going to happen for a certain amount of time. For a small period of time, we're going to go through this oppression. And there's going to be a time where this oppression that we go through is going to come to an end. It's going to come to an end. On slide, go ahead.
Okay, Khan. No, absolutely. I got two people on here. El más chingón, Shalom, carnal, y'all, y Luis Marty. Luis Marty said there's a viral video of a black student at a University of Virginia asking a white student to leave the campus diversity center, and it sparked a debate over race. All right, I see that. You know, let me tell you something. You know, what we're talking about today, right, about how Mexico is being gentrified by white people. El Distrito Federal, Baja California, a lot of places, we're seeing a lot of white people going, que tienen billete, que tienen feria, and they're going down there and buying property. Y se hacen pendejos because they know they can't be buying property in Mexico. You got to be Mexican born to buy property in Mexico.
You got to be a citizen, right?
You got to be a citizen. But yet, la mordida, right? El billete, ¿qué dicen? Con el dinero baila el chango. They buy their property and they're living there and they're gentrifying the area. Mexico is not like America. America is real strict with throwing our people out. They're real strict with having us, you know, you can't live in America without your papers, without being a citizen, or without your immigration papers. We got the problem that us, our own Mexican Chicano people, we think like white people. We're like, oh, those Mexicans, they need to do and come in legally. We come against our own people. But you don't see any of these Mexican people in America seeing the problem with white people going to Mexico and gentrifying it. Right. And it's been being gentrified since 1492. Right. Since the day that Christopher Columbus landed on our land. You see what I'm saying? So they never see no problem with that, but yet they'll come against our own people, talking about, no, pues que es, you know, they're wetbacks, you know, they have no right, they're coming to take our jobs. Hey, it's going to hurt, but I'm going to say it. Cesar Chavez he himself was racist against Mexican people.
Right.
Because he was saying, you got these braceros coming to America to take our jobs. But they were over there not wanting to work in the fields no more.
Right, they were on strike.
They went on strike because they wanted, equal rights, and they wanted better living conditions. And they're seeing Mexicans come over there and being like, well, man, we really don't care, man. Mexico is even worse than here. At least you guys got a place to sleep. We ain't even got that. But the reality, the big picture, the main thing is that America does that to us.
Right.
America destroyed our country. And then America destroys us here. And then it all not only destroys us economically, and not only destroys us family-wise, it destroys us mentally-wise. Right. Because it makes us come against our own people.
Right.
It makes us come against our own race. Somos raza. I don't care if you're Chicano, give a damn what you are. We're raza, we all the same. And yet we come against each other because we're educated in hate. You go and get your diploma in the schools in America to learn how to hate your own people, to become American. And you want to become American, and to become American is to be proud American. You want to be a proud American. What does that include? Hating immigrants. That's what they want to call them. They're really wetbacks, bottom line. But they want to use a word that's not, what is that? What is that? It's not offensive. It's politically correct. So we'll just call you immigrants. But before they used to call it Westbacks and Beaners and all kinds of names, right? But now they want to use correct words. But there is no correct word. The correct word really is that America is a monster and the American dream is a nightmare for our people. And we can never get over that. We got to start realizing that the only way that we're going to change this is if we begin to see each other as brothers. And let me tell you, that black brother that did that to that white man, they deserve that.
Right.
That student deserved that black brother telling him, get the hell out of our center. Diversity center. Because there is no diversity. That word diversity is a lie. There's no diversity. There is no diversity. Why? Because your Mexican people are in cages on the detention centers on the borders. Blacks and Hispanics outnumber any other race in the prison system. The black people are at the bottom, the Hispanic people are at the bottom, and white people get all the benefits. So there is no diversity. There is no equal rights. There's only the lies that make you think that it's true. And we can't see it because we've been educated to not be able to see beyond what America has taught you. You've been educated in colonization of the mind. They not only colonize your country, they colonize your goddamn brain and the way you think. And you cannot think beyond what they tell you. And I'll prove it to you. You tell your mom or your dad or your uncle or your aunt or your grandma that the Catholic Church is a poison and a lie, the side of her brain that got educated in the Catholic Church will immediately kick in. And everything you're telling her is offensive. Everything you're telling her is a lie. And everything you're saying is an attack on her and on everything that she knows. And in reality, you're just trying to tell her, hey, this is the truth about it. But they can never see past the education that they've gotten in church, in school, and in this country. And we will never see it. That brother or that sister that told that white guy to leave the diversity center is 500 years too late. The Native American Indian should have told the goddamn white man, fuck diversity, get out of our country. The Mexican people should have told the Spaniard, we don't want diversity, get out of our country. And the black man should have said, we don't want diversity. We should have separated a long time ago. Because then perhaps we could have loved our own people instead of being educated and hating our people. You know what I mean? And that's what we really need to do. We need to separate, because when we begin to separate, we begin to allow ourselves to re-educate ourselves and to begin to understand who we really are and what we really need to do to change things for our own people, for our own benefit. Let me tell you, this is La Neta. We're on every Monday. We do this show. We also got the Inconvenient Truth every Wednesday, same channel, and we have ISUPK Mexico every day. You can tune in every day. And yeah, Malagma's right. It's not racist because we don't hate them. We're not trying to kill them. We're not trying to hang them. We're not trying to murder them. Nothing like that. We're not trying to do any harm to these people. What we're trying to do is separate our people from liars, thieves, rapists, and murderers. What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that. We should have done that a long time ago. Any last words, Zarawai? Go ahead, carnal.
Yeah, Con. A lot of heavy points. To touch on what you were saying, the precept that Officer Malakma brought out, you know, it's not hatred, you know, it's not racism. We're not harming people, but that son of perdition needs to be revealed. The scripture that Officer Malakma brought out, that day won't come unless the son of perdition is revealed, right? So that's what we do. We go out there and reveal that son of perdition. You know what I'm saying? So what we do is completely biblical. It's completely biblical. It's no hatred. We don't, like Officer Kazakiad was saying, we don't lynch. We don't harm nobody. You understand? The only thing is that our people have been so divided, you know, we allow, you know, because of Stockholm syndrome and us loving our enemy instead of being aware of who our enemy is and knowing and never trusting our enemy, man, we love them so much. Because of Stockholm syndrome, we allow so much division between our people, you understand, by just an imaginary border that the oppressor made up himself. We allow that to divide us, you know, telling our people that they should come over here, you know, legally and all this, when this was our land in the first place. And to go back what Officer Malakma was saying, you know, is that, like, we could have that power here in America, you know, we could have that power to tell the oppressor to go back where he came from. You understand? Here in America, because this is our land, you know, but only if we was united in the way we should be, because the only reason gentrification happens and is allowed here in America, in our neighborhoods, in our businesses, is because we are divided. We're divided. Like you look at, you know, Chinatown. Chinatown's never gonna be gentrified. Never gonna be gentrified. Why? Because they're united. Over here in Philly and in Jersey, you see, you know, the African communities, which will never be gentrified because they're united, right? There's something that we need to learn as a people, is that we need to start to unite together, no matter what differences we have, no matter anything that anything we think about that the oppressor has put in our minds to separate us. You know what I mean? And we could have that same power, that brother from the university could have used behind him by telling that devil to get out of his university. If he had a whole nation of people behind him that could not be divided, that could not be separated for no reason, but all of us be together behind him, like, that's power. You understand? That's power right there. And that's what we need, right? Our people to stop the division. That's why the scripture says, you know, gather yourselves together. You know, yea, gather together. The Lord said it twice. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired, because there's power in us being brotherly, you know, having that brotherly love and coming together. That's power. That's all I have to say, sir.
The water. Go ahead, Malakma. Jump in.
Sir, I just wanted to reiterate that, you know, to touch on, you know, what officers are why was bringing out, what you were bringing out, right? And touch that. And the reason why I said that is that it is not racist. Like, for our Raza to tell the gringos to leave and go back is not racist. For that brother to tell that you know, that white person or white people to leave their college campus is not racist, because we're not telling them to leave because they're blonde hair and blue eye. We're not telling them to leave because, you know, they come from Europe. We're telling them to leave because of the things they do, because they steal our spaces, because they bring their, you know, their ways of life, their corrupt ways of life, and force it on us, because they oppress us. So that the hatred that we show them is a righteous hatred. It's a righteous hatred, and it's love for our own people, for our raza, and for our black brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? When we tell y'all to leave, when we point out the things that you've done to us, it is not racism. It's love for our people, and it's justice. It's the man for justice because of the things, like I said, the things. It's not the color of your skin, Mr. White Man, hombre blanco. It's the things that you have done to us as a nation of people towards ours. The fact that you're going to Mexico, you know, not even doing the legal process as Officer Kazakia brought out, and think that people have to tolerate you. Meanwhile, you can't tolerate a Mexican over here if he speaks Spanish. But you think you got the right to go to Mexico and illegally buy land and build your condo and your businesses? That's why we call you the devil the Bible speaks of, because the evil that you do to us, man. The evil that you gringos do to my raza, man. So I'm glad my people are waking up, man. And that's the spirit of the Lord right there that you know, to reveal that. You are the man of sin. You gringos are the man of sin, the son of perdition. And there needs to be a great falling away from you oppressors, man. So that my people can survive for once. So that my people can have power for once, man. Can be empowered. Because for too long we've been on the bottom, man. For too long we've been living as and treated as second-class citizens on our own goddamn soil, man. You oppressors never won this land fair and square. You never won it. You stole the land. And it wasn't a great grand war where you think because you were technologically superior, right? That you won. No. You stole it. You snibbled your way. You pitted tribes against one another. That's what you oppressors did. You stole the land. You connived your way. You're not controlling anything because you're a great superior people, man. You're controlling everything right now because my people are oppressed, because we're under the curses, because the Lord has put us in those curses until we come back and serve him. And then the righteous people will be in authority and the earth will be good, man. So like y'all pass the floor up back to the next priest.
All right. Go ahead. Let's get Lahab on. Go ahead, Lahab.
Now everything you saying is heavy, Malak, man. I just want to say this is you know, not too long ago, you know, during that Trump era, all them white Americans were telling us to go back to our shithole country. I don't know if you remember that. Go back to Mexico, shithole country. Go get your country, you know, fix your country so you don't have to come over here. Well, the tables are turned, and now you guys are running to our country, running to Mexico City, because inflation is high in America. You know, everything's going up, so you trying to run away from it and go to Mexico. You know, and like I said, if Mexico, if that president had any balls, any, you know, integrity, and really loved his people, he kicked all them white folks out of there, man. Right. He kicked all of them out. Where's your green card? You know, you have a permit? You have a permit to have a business? You should tell them those things, man. I doubt it's gonna happen. Because the thing is, with Mexicans, we're just so compassionate. We're very compassionate people. And the problem with us is that we give that compassion to people who hate us, and we don't give that compassion to our own people. You know, it's time for us. It's time for that to change, man. We need to love our own people, stick together, grow together, and no matter what the situation is, whether it's bad or good, we need to stick with each other. You understand? And separate ourselves from our oppressors. Separate ourselves from the man that oppresses us. This is the inconvenient truth. Make sure y'all tune in. It's like not inconvenient truth, La Pura Neta. Make sure you tune into La Pura Neta, inconvenient truth. You know, ISPK Mexico. Follow us. You understand? And you know, help us build this channel and get down with us. And I'm gonna pass that up to Appreciate Officer Zakia.
Absolutely, man. Tawato to everybody for joining in. And what the brother's speaking is absolutely true, man. And what we really need to do is speak up. To not say anything is to be with what's happening. So what we got to do is we got to get out of our little hole and we got to speak up, man. We got to do this show. We got to do La Neta. You got to participate because every voice counts. We're the beginning of change. Change happens through times of revolution, and this is revolutionary. To speak like this has not been heard of in a long time, and we're the ones who have stepped forward to do this, to speak like this, to be those that are gonna speak for a whole generation to come. Because the generation behind us, man, it seems like this generation has just been lost, educated in nothing but loss. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-educate everybody, and we're gonna speak how it's not been spoken in centuries, because we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make sure that they understand who the real enemy is, and it's gonna be Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians who are gonna come together because we're oppressed from our same oppressor, which is the white man in this country. So what better than for us to get up, man, Black and brown unite, so that we might be able to make a change for those coming ahead of us, right? Because they're going to look back one day and they're going to see that we were the ones who initiated this talk that made change. Let me tell you something. Nothing is coming good out of America, because that's what they said about Jerusalem, Bethlehem, right? Isn't that what they say? What good comes out of Jerusalem, right? What good comes out of Jerusalem? Well, out of Salakia, as in Nazareth. What good comes out of Nazareth? Well, Christ came out of Nazareth. And that was the best thing that has ever happened. I'm going to say what good comes out of America. The ISUPK came out of America. That's what came out of this place. We made the change. We're why the Lord has chosen us in the land of our captivity to raise our voice. Man, it's time we all do this. It's time we all come together. It's time that we raise up a voice and we bring the people to the ISUPK, bring Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. And we start learning our history so that we don't repeat that anymore. And that this time, the history that we're going to put out is going to make a difference. Guaranteed. This is the ISUPK La Pura Neta. We're here every Monday about 8:45 to bring this show, man. Every week we got something new. Join in, participate, share, man. Share this show, like this show, comment on this show. Bring it up, man, because that's what it's all about. Nosotros vamos a hacer el cambio del futuro. And that's what we got to do. Don't forget, ISUPK Mexico every day. We got classes. La Neta every Monday. The Inconvenient Truth every Wednesday. Join us for these shows, man. Become part of it. Join us, man, and man, get in here. Get in this truth. If you already got your name, if you're already a trooper, make sure you link up with us because we want to put you on this show also. Man, let us know what's happening in your area from coast to coast, man. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? This is Officer Kazak Yard 5000 of the ISUPK coming out of California. You know what I'm saying? 1 West out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York City. I want to thank everybody for joining with us. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll be back here next Monday. Next Monday, man, join us. Let us know. Give us a ring on our messenger and let us know, man. We'll bring you on in. I want to thank everybody, Tawada, for joining us. Till next week, Shalom, Yahweh, Shim Yahweh, Barakatah.